Hello, everybody. Brenna here from Mad is a Bren. In today's episode, seeing it's out spooky season, we're going to cover something spooky. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. And no, it is not Santa Claus. It is the Shadowman, also known as the Hat Man. And I'm sure some of you watching will be familiar with the Hat Man. Some of you might even know him personally. If you've never heard of him before, then this episode is an episode you're going to wish you had never listened to. So who is the Shadowman? Well, nobody knows for certain. You might call him a sleep paralysis demon, maybe an alien. I like to think of him as a real-life Freddy Krueger. He appears as a tall, skinny, shadow-like figure, usually wearing a bowler derby hat and has red glowing eyes. The thing that sets him apart from other cryptids, demons, etc. is that he is seen all around the world. You are never safe from him, you cannot hide from him, not even in the comfort of your own bed. Legend says that there was once a man who was arrested for breaking into homes. The man was sentenced to the gallows, but overpowered the guards and ran into the woods. A search party was sent out to find him, but he was never caught. A few years after this man's disappearance, children began going missing. The town was suspicious that he was behind the disappearances of the children, until one day a child returned after being taken. The child was a 5-year-old boy. In the boy's police interview, he told the officer about a man who had taken him, and who was the man that he described? A shadow man with big red eyes and a funny hat. Chances are, someone you know has seen the Shadow Man. I personally have been acquainted with a Shadow Man, although I don't think I was dealing with the main man in charge. There isn't just one Shadow Man. There are shadow people. Multiple can appear in your room all at once, watching you with an eerie feel about them, like you feel like something's wrong. But the one I think is the main man in charge, so to speak, is the Hat Man himself. In most cases, he will appear in someone's room while they're asleep. They'll wake up with him beside them and will be paralyzed and unable to move. These stories, for the most part, have one thing in common: sleep paralysis. So what exactly is sleep paralysis? Sleep paralysis is a phenomenon in which somebody is temporarily unable to move or speak as they transition from being asleep to being awake. Sleep paralysis is sometimes, but not always, accompanied by hallucinations. These hallucinations aren't like normal dreams. You might see, feel, and hear things that aren't really there. You might feel an eerie feeling like something dark is in the room with you, or feel like something is suffocating you. Some relate to it as having an out-of-body experience. All of these things are very common with sleep paralysis. Another common thing that people experience? Sleep demons. Fun, but not so fun fact. Sleep paralysis demons were first identified in 1664 by a Dutch physician. This physician thought that they were caused by a demon that attacked its victims in their sleep. What causes sleep paralysis? When we fall asleep, we don't automatically enter sleep mode. There are different phases of sleep that our bodies enter throughout the night. If you have a full night of uninterrupted sleep, you'll begin with NREM stages 1, 2, and 3, and then 2 again before finally entering into REM sleep. Stage 1 is where you are in the in-between, not quite asleep, but not awake. Stage 2, you are asleep. Stage 3, you enter a deep sleep. The next stage is REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep. During this phase, your eyes are moving behind your eyelids and your brain is active. Your brain activity level during this time is actually similar to the same activity levels as when you're awake. The difference is that our bodies usually go limp to prevent you from moving around while dreaming. Actual fun fact, REM sleep usually happens more later at night, but we do not have as much REM sleep in colder temperatures. This is because our bodies cannot regulate temperature like normal in this sleep phase. So what happens if our sleep is interrupted during one of these transitions in between phases? This is where you might experience sleep paralysis. It's more likely to happen when you're just falling asleep or when you're about to wake up. So when you're in REM sleep, your muscles are relaxed, but now your mind is awake and aware of its surroundings. This means you can be completely conscious and yet you're unable to move. This phenomenon is called hypnagogia. When a person wakes up, but the body and brain remain asleep, which is absolutely terrifying in itself, even without hallucinations or out-of-body experiences coming into play. The majority of stories about the Shadow Man start with the sounds of voices murmuring, the sounds of hell or demons, and a buzzing noise. These noises are followed by a presence that something is there, or the color red. A lot of people describe a feeling of electricity, like a static feeling running through their body, similar to the static of an old television. Like I mentioned previously, sometimes when the Shadow Man comes, he's not alone. He's been known to be in a group with other shadow men. The Hat Man, for the most part, hangs out in the back, still and silent, observing while the others move about. Hence why I think he is the man in charge. Some say he might shapeshift, that he might look different or be in a different body, but they can tell by the feeling they get that it's him from his malevolent presence, a feeling that nothing will ever be the same again. The Shadow Man is a very common visual with sleep paralysis, but he's not the only one that people see. People also have seen what's called the night hag or the old hag. Another common visual is a black cat with glowing red eyes. These red-eyed demons are seen all across the world. How are people all across the world with no relation to each other seeing the same creatures? Are they actual demons? Are they extraterrestrial? Are they stress-induced hallucinations? Are people able to see for a split second a veil between this world and others? A lot of people who have experienced the Shadow Man and other sleep paralysis demons will tell you that it is not caused by the Wikipedia definition of sleep paralysis and that it is supernatural. Doctors will tell them to eat better. They eat better, it still happens. Psychiatrists will tell them it's caused by anxiety disorders, etc. No matter what they change or how much they pray, it still seems to make its way back. So now that we've covered some of the scientific explanations of the shadow people, let's discuss some other theories of who they are. Theory number 1, astral projection. For those of you who do not know what astral projection is, think of it as your body staying in one place, like your bed, and your mind or your consciousness leaving your body behind to travel to another place. Sometimes people astral project by choice. Sometimes it just happens when they aren't trying. It's almost always happens while they're asleep, though. You could think you're just having a very realistic dream and then bam! You smack down back into your body and wake up like, what the hell just happened? Some people practice astral projection and can do it whenever they like, which is super insane to me, and I think that's very cool, and I'm jealous of you. So how does this tie into shadow people? What if when you're laying in bed and you see a shadow figure appear, it's really just someone astral projecting into your room? Does that make it more or less creepy? This person could be visiting from an entirely different astral plane altogether. Theory number 2, interdimensional beings. Okay, this one is more self-explanatory. Aliens. Perhaps beings from a parallel universe or another dimension. An extraterrestrial being that is traveling through space and time, maybe traveling through different astral planes. Could this be why people report feeling electricity or a static feeling when they're about to get a visit from a shadow person? Theory number 3, ghost or a spirit. Ooh. What if the shadow people aren't malevolent at all? What if they are lost souls? Maybe they're ghosts or spirits who are stuck on Earth for some reason and cannot travel to the other side. Maybe that's why they're always just observing for the most part, curious about the person that they're watching. A shadow of the person they once were, so to speak. Theory number 4, demons. Ah! Scary. This is a very common theory, and I think it's mostly in part to the evil energy that is felt when shadow people, or more specifically the Hat Man, are present. Demons can manifest in many different forms, so a shadow form wouldn't be surprising. This could also be why the Shadow Man will appear after someone has been told about him. Although this is not always the case, for instance, some people have had encounters with the shadow person since birth. If someone is told about the Shadow Man and becomes fearful of him, he is known to just appear. If the shadow people were in fact demons, it wouldn't be that far-fetched to venture on to say that they could feed off of the fear people feel when they see them. However, I'm not sure I fully believe this theory, because not all instances with shadow people are scary. So my encounter with the Shadow Man wasn't scary at all, although I was scared, because who's not going to be when you see a shadow figure staring at you? But I was laying in my bed in the dark. Across the hallway is a spare bedroom. I seen a tall shadow figure poke his head out, look at me, poke his head back in, poke his head out, look at me, poke his head back in. And he continued to do this, so of course I did the little blinky number to make sure that I was seeing it correctly. There wasn't any like hanging towels or anything that could have been the culprit. So then I shine a flashlight from my phone at the shadow figure. Nothing there. Completely disappears. Turn the flashlight off. He's back. Staring at me. moving back, staring at me, moving back. So then this goes on and I start to panic. I turn the lights on in my bedroom, hide in the corner of my bed, call my fiance crying, a whole ordeal. And then a rosary that is hanging on my wall starts shaking back and forth. So I was like, what the hell? What the hell? But anyways, so that was my encounter with a shadow man. It wasn't that scary. I feel like I'm the one who made it scary. He was more like curious about me. Like he was looking at me like, what are you doing here? So I wasn't being attacked. I didn't feel like an evil presence. I just felt like I was being watched by someone and I felt uneasy. And, obviously I was scared because if you're in your house home alone and someone's staring at you, you're going to be scared. But I wouldn't say that the being itself was scary, just that I was scared. Another not so fun fact, my roommate had sleep paralysis once and had a sleep demon crawl under the bedroom door and make its way onto his blanket, and then it crawled on top of him. So that one was scary. The door shut and he looked over and saw like creepy hands at the door. And then the face looked at him. So he hid under a blanket and then the creature got under the blanket with him. He tried to yell for help, but he couldn't scream. And then he was woke up by my fiance's mom because they lived together at the time. He was woke up by Chris's mom that had told him like, hey, you've been screaming. So not so fun fact. Theory number 5, spirit guides or guardians. Whoa. Okay, this would be super cool if it were indeed the case, especially in those cases where shadow people have been visiting someone since as early as a few months old while they're still in their crib. Perhaps checking in on them throughout life to make sure that they're okay. Maybe the shadow people are just misunderstood. Maybe they appear to warn us of something or communicate to someone. I don't know. But we aren't just able to understand the messages that they're trying to get across. Maybe just like humans, there are some good shadow beings and some bad. Some that like to observe and some that like to invoke fear. Some that protect us at night while others encourage the nightmares to continue. Regardless of what you believe, I think the mystery of the shadow people and the Hat Man will continue to live on. I personally do not think that shadow people can be explained away with science alone. And although our brains are truly amazing and terrifying organs, and sleep paralysis could be the cause of this, I'm going to continue in my belief that the real cause of the shadow people has not yet been discovered yet. Yeah, so let me know what you think. Drop a comment, like, subscribe. Maybe you want to request me to research something. You can do that too. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.